All right. This is a recording for Sister. Today is January 18th, 2024. And of course, any family members that we decide to share this with. Hello, everybody. All right. So today we are looking at James P. Brown. And we've already sort of touched on the base of James P. Brown, but it's been a few days. I want to see if I'm going to get the same information or if I'm going to get different information. Now, the key when I'm doing this work, I have to sort of be kind of a dualistic thing. So I'm focused on this James P. Brown, this name in my mind, and holding in my mind that he is my 4 times great grandfather. And at the same time, I have to sort of disconnect my own thoughts, emotions, consciousness, personality, and ego. Now, occasionally I will get mixed messaging. Now, if that's happening, I don't know why. I don't know if they have memory problems on the other side. I don't know that that's the case. They may be willing or unwilling to share stuff with me, or I might have accidentally not put us in a protective bubble to make sure that I'm not dealing with just some random entity out there giving me bullshit information. So as I set this up, as I'm using my pendulum, and for those family members who want to use it, once I, for me, say the Lord's Prayer, I'll say, God, block all energies from moving the pendulum. God, block all physical and non-physical energies from influencing or moving the pendulum. Block my ego, my biases, my filters, my opinions, my emotions, my personality, and my consciousness. Only God's source energy flows through me and moves the pendulum, working in the best and highest good for all. Working in truth only. That's how I set it up. Then I'll say, God, surround us with your love, light, and army of protection. And then I go through and I bring in James P. Brown and bring in the energy that walked in the shoes of James P. Brown, married to Hester Ann Helms, whose son was Henderson Brown, who I have a genetic DNA tie to as my 4 times great grandfather. And invite him into our safe God space, if you will. So therefore, we are blocking any trickster energies that would come in and affect our communication. James P. Brown, James P. Brown, James P. Brown, James P. Brown. All right, thank you. Do we have a full energy connection with the entity known as James P. Brown, walked in the shoes of, and was born in 1787? Thank you. All right. Do we have permission to ask questions? Are you working in truth only? Are you working in truth only? Oh, man, he's got some strength. Getting sidetracked on what he just did through my arm. All right, James P. Brown. I feel like he wants to tell his side of the story. And that's what I'm here to do, is to figure out your point of view. Do you agree to answer questions? Let's do a few house cleaning questions to make sure that I'm on the right, dialed into the right frequency. Was your mother Ann Porter Brown? Yes. Now, we can't confirm that, obviously. And was your father James Brown, who was massacred at Nickajack, Tennessee on May 9th, 1788? Yes. Was your grandfather James Brown, who was massacred at Nickajack, Tennessee, in 1788. Yes. Was your grandmother Jane Gillespie Brown? Thank you. Is there any evidence that you know of that is available to us today that will indicate confirmation that your mother was Ann Porter Brown? Is there any information out there that will support that your mother was Ann Porter Brown? All right, so I am getting a positive with that, sister. I thought in my mind, probably not, but from his perspective, there is that. Now, I don't know. Is there, is there not? Who knows? Hmm. All right, so your mother was Ann Porter Brown. Was her father Benjamin Porter? Was her father Benjamin Porter? No. Was her father Thomas Porter? No. I know we talked about Benjamin Porter, and I think we talked about that. Was your can you give me the first letter of Ann Brown's father's name? The first letter. Ann Porter Brown, her father's name. Are you giving me the letter J? Was Ann Porter your mother's father? Your grandfather, your mother's father. Was his name John? No. Was it a Jacob Porter? No. Jack? Was he known by a J name? Was he known by a J name? Is that his Christian name? Was J the first letter of his Christian name? No. Okay. Can you give me the first letter of his Christian name? Ah, all right. I don't know if you can see this or not. So James P. Brown, James P. Brown, James P. Brown, are you here? Are you communicating with us? All right. Is your mother's name is your mother's name Ann Porter Brown? And was her father a porter? Okay. Was her father known by a letter J name? Was that his Christian name? Okay. Can you give me his Christian name? Your grandfather, Ann Porter Brown's father. Can you give me his Christian name? Look how that just immediately stops. Are you blocking us from this information? Look, not even going to answer. Is there a reason why you are keeping this a secret? Wow, seriously? James P. Brown, do you want me to change the line of questioning? Okay, so he's wanting me to change the line of questioning. I think it's interesting that I didn't even get a no. He didn't even give me a no. He just like stopped talking. That's it. I'm not gonna do it. Oh my word, he's a character. All right, James, let's talk about you. Oh, your favorite subject. All right, so let's talk about you, James P. I need for you to give me download into my mind, and then we'll go through it. Watch the light, how it brightens. Are you able to affect that light, James? Brighten it and reduce it? There's some subtle changes. It's very subtle, though. It doesn't seem to be doing what Hester did. Hester seems to be doing a much better job at communicating through the luminescence. Luminescence, I can't even say the word. All right, I think that's interesting. All right, let me go through. Now, James P. Brown. Your name is James Porter Brown. You were born 1788 to Ann Porter Brown and James Brown. Now, how old were you when your mother died? Can you give me that? Okay, go ahead and give me the age. How old were you when your mother died? Right. Sister, he's still giving me between 3 and 4 years old. I'm leaning more toward 3. Okay. And did your grandparents die in a fire? Did you go live with your grandparents and your mother? Did you and your mother go live with her parents after James was killed by Indians? Yes. And was there a fire in the cabin? Yes. And were you and your mother like up in a loft of that cabin? And you and your mother were able to escape the cabin before it was completely consumed by fire? Yes. But your mother, did she inhale too much smoke? And she fell and collapsed while trying to hold you. Her arm is sort of over you. She had protected you. So I feel like when she's trying to get out of the cabin, she's like putting a blanket over you. But she has to see in order to navigate out of the cabin. Is this right? So you're slightly protected from the smoke because she's got you covered by a blanket. Is this right? Okay, so I'm getting a positive yes on all that and some fluctuation in the luminescence of the light, which is interesting. I think I don't know why Hester was so used to it. I think Hester's probably a little bit more used to light manipulation because I believe she's been earthbound a while and I think she's been trying to get people's attention. But there's no doubt she's causing light glows. All right, so all right, James P. So she's got a blanket over your head and she runs out of the cabin with you, but she's taken in too much smoke into her lungs. She collapsed. It's nighttime. Is this correct? Thank you. Now, before she dies, does somebody show up? Yes. Is there another man there that has been outside sleeping? Yes. Was this man um, Andrew Henderson? That's a massive yes. So I'm getting a massive yes with Andrew Henderson again. Was it a Thomas Henderson? No. Was it a Richard Henderson? Was it a Henderson with a different name? Was it Andrew Henderson? All right. So he was staying outside. So he was outside the cabin and he rushes to Anne. But Anne, I feel like Anne cannot speak. Is this true? And they make eye contact before she slips off into the other realm. All right. So does she speak before she dies? Does she say anything? No, but does she say anything? Let me give it some time here. No, she doesn't speak, but their eyes make contact, and he can tell she's begging him to take care of you. Do you remember, in the time that you lived, did you remember your mother? No, so you sort of, her image faded away. All right, so did Andrew Henderson raise you? And as Andrew Henderson raised you, did he have his own cabin somewhere? Yes and no. So he had one, but he was gone a lot. And did you travel with him? You learned to hunt and trap and all that. And you got sick of hunting and trapping. You wanted a place of your own. Okay, that makes sense. How old were you when you and Andrew Henderson parted ways? 1. So around 18 years old. So you were around 18 years old when you and Andrew Henderson and you parted ways. Did Andrew Henderson have an Indian wife? Yes. Was this couple kind to you? Yes. Did they feel like mother and father to you? Yes. Did Andrew Henderson, did you ever see, let me rephrase this. Did you ever see Andrew Henderson again after you were 18 years old? Did you ever see him again? You did. Did he know that you named your firstborn son after him? Okay. Did you ever see him again after Henderson Brown was born? Okay. Can you tell me how old were you the last time you saw Andrew Henderson? How old were you the last time you saw Andrew Henderson? 3. So you were around 31 years old was the last time you saw Andrew Henderson. Did Andrew Henderson have a bit of a crush on your mother, Ann Porter? I'm hearing in my mind it was unrequited love. Is that true? Did Andrew Henderson have an Indian wife the day your mother died? So the Indian wife came after because he told you stories around the fire about your mother, your father, and where you came from. It was important that you knew your roots. He knew how important it was to know his own roots. Is this true? Did Andrew Porter ever own land, to your knowledge? Did he ever own land? No. Was he just based? So he would set up a cabin and come to it occasionally, but it was not necessarily on land that he physically had papers to own. Is this correct? Yes. Was Andrew Porter the source of you being introduced to liquor, whiskey? Yes. How old were you when you had your first drink of whiskey? You were 5. Okay, I feel like you were sick and he gave you a little bit of whiskey to help you sleep and you hated the taste. But you also liked the warming feeling it gave you and how it relaxed you even then. And so you developed a taste for whiskey. Is this correct? I'm gonna pause this a second. All right, sister, that was 2 phone calls, one of them being you. All right, here we go. James P. Brown. So you've given me an image that you grew up with Henderson or Andrew Henderson. He gave you your first taste of whiskey when you were age 5. After your mother died, he married a Native American woman. He had a cabin, but it was built on property not legally owned, so there was no transference of deeds. That is correct. So I'm getting that again. Susie has some questions. We're going to jump ahead a little bit so we can go and do some backfill later. So was your first wife Hester Ann Brown, Hester Ann Helms Brown? And we want your side of the story. So just give us your side of the story. Okay. Did she fall apart physically in your assessment? Was she able to take care of the children? Okay, so she was unable to take care of the children. Oh, for heaven's sakes. Grand Central Station. Hold on. And that was Reese. Oh my gosh, my phone has rung so much today. I should put it in the other room. All right, so James P. Brown. I have no idea where we were. We're just going to kind of catch up. All right, James P. Brown, are you still here and with us? And we're wanting your side of the story. All right, so when you went to get your wife, let's back up a little bit. So you discovered that Hester was unable to take care of the children. Okay. So she's unable to take care of the children, and you needed to make sure that the children were cared for. Is this correct? Can you give me a message how you saw Hester? Give me a word that describes how you saw Hester at the end before you had her removed. C R A Z Y. Okay, so your perception of Hester at the time that you had her removed from the home was that she was crazy and a danger to the children. Is this correct? Okay, thank you for this information. Now, um, James P. Brown, did you ever hit Hester? Did she lie to people about you? Did Hester make up stories about you that were untrue? All right. Let's move on to different questions, okay? We're wanting your story. Thank you. So did you go to Hester's father and explain to him that you're concerned for the children and that Hester was crazy and that she needed to be removed from the home before the children were hurt? Is this true? Okay, so thank you. So we are getting a positive. He did do that. All right. So, but they needed a mother, is this right? Now, did you go to Switzerland County to find a bride? No. Did you know of somebody you wanted to marry or raise the children? Yes. So you didn't go to find a bride, but was Amelia already living in Switzerland County? Was she a widow? Yes and yes. Okay, so Amelia, was her married name Rutherford? Yes. And was her maiden name Apple? Yes. And did her parents come from Ohio? Did her parents come from Ohio? No. Were her parents born in Indiana? No. All right, so was Amelia Apple's father born in Ohio? No. Was Amelia's father born in West Virginia? Was Amelia's father born in Kentucky? Okay. And was Amelia's mother born in Kentucky? Was Amelia's father born in Kentucky? Did his father own land in Kentucky? Okay, so he owned land. Now, had her father, Mr. Apple, was he born in Ohio? So he was born in Ohio. They moved to Kentucky. When they were in Kentucky, Amelia was born in Kentucky. And then they moved into Switzerland County, where she was married to a man named Rutherford. Is this correct? Now, did you know Amelia when she was married to Mr. Rutherford? So you did know her. You knew of each other. Were you in love with Amelia? Did you fall in love with Amelia? Yes. Was she younger than you? Was she much younger than you? No. How many years younger was Amelia than you were? Can you give me a number? So she was around 10 years younger than you. Was she, were you more than 10 years younger than, or she, excuse me, was she more than 10 years younger than you? She was. Okay, well, you're contradicting yourself. Okay, was she 11 years younger than you? Okay, so 11 years is the age difference between you and Amelia. Yes, okay. Now, did she have a child, Lewis? Did she give birth to a son, Lewis? No. Okay. Did she have children from her marriage? Yes. And did you legally marry her? No. Did she see it as you were legally married? Yes. So she thought you got legally married. Okay. Now, how long were you with Amelia? How many years? Can you give me that? Great. Thank you. Go ahead and show me. How many years were you with Amelia? Between 8 and 9 years? Okay. Now, Hester says that you um, blocked her access to her children. Is that true? Yes. And the reason for that is why? Can you give me an answer? Why did you block access of your children to Hester? Give me the one word. See? Okay, so RAZY. Okay, so you maintained that Hester was crazy, and because she's crazy, there was no marriage in your mind. Did you apply for a divorce? No. Did Amelia know Hester? Yes. Did Amelia befriend Hester against your wishes? Yes. And was she giving access to the children, to Hester's children, to Hester? Yes. And no. All right. So was she giving access just to one or two of the children? One of the children. So was she giving access to more than one child of Hester's? Okay, so there were two. Was there more than two that she was giving access to? No, because she felt it was too risky because the kids would accidentally say something. The two children she secured access to Hester. Was it Henderson and John? Yes. And you found out about it? Yes. And did you physically hit her? Did you ever hit Amelia? Did you get upset with Amelia for allowing your children to be brought into the presence of a crazy woman? Did it end in an argument? Did Amelia allow the younger children to see Hester? So, is the reason Amelia left, did you have to get rid of Amelia too? Because she was endangering your children, giving access to Hester? Okay. Did you end up in a quarrel? Okay. Did you rape Amelia? I know that's a harsh word and I'm sorry, but I keep getting the image that you raped her. It was okay. Did you force yourself on her for sex? Because it was her duty to give it. Okay, so I do get that. Did you care that she was saying no? Did you care? So was she saying no the last time you took her? So she did fight back. Did you hit Amelia? Okay, so you don't want to talk about that. All right, so we're not going to talk about that. We're moving on to more questions. let's leave Amelia behind for now. Let's talk about Lewis Brown. Okay, Lewis Brown. Is Lewis Brown your biological son? Is Lewis Brown your biological son? James P. Brown. Is Lewis Brown your biological son? Okay, can you tell me what was the name of Lewis Brown's mother? Did you adopt Lewis Brown? Is Lewis Brown a product of having a relation with another woman outside your marriage? Do you want to hold secrets about Lewis Brown? Was Mary Pickle cut out of your will? Was Mary Pickle, did you actually marry her? Was she a legitimate wife in the eyes of the state? So Mary Pickle was your wife. Did you divorce her? Did you have to send Mary Pickle away too? Was Mary Pickle crazy? Was Amelia crazy? So they were all crazy. And you had to send them all away. Did you cut Mary Pickle out of your will? Did you divide up your property and sell it to your children before you died? Did you do that so nobody would contest the will? Oh my goodness. Okay, so thank you, James P. Brown, um, for the information that you brought forward today. I think we'll go ahead and disconnect now from James P. Brown. Disconnect now, disconnect now, disconnect now from James P. Brown. Let's see if we can go, Dad. Victor Edwinson, can you step forward, please? Dad, are you connected to the universal knowledge or the Akashic records? Would you be willing to answer questions James P. Brown was unwilling to answer? Can you read the Akashic records for us? Thank you. All positive. Can you tell me, Dad, was was James P. Brown the biological father of Lewis Brown? So he was the biological father of Lewis Brown. Okay. Can you tell me who the biological mother is and spell out her name? Spell out the name of the biological mother of Lewis Brown. S A R A Sarah. So Lewis's Brown's biological mother was Sarah. Okay, I hate to say this, Dad. This is almost disgusting me, but did James P. Brown force himself on a woman named Sarah? Because that is what I'm getting, that he forced himself onto her. And is Lewis Brown product of this attack? Did people around Lewis Brown know that he raped somebody? No. Did he say that this woman wanted him and approached him and used him? Was that his story? Did Lewis Brown's mother survive childbirth? Okay. Was she married to somebody else? Was Sarah married to somebody else? Okay, can you give me the name? Can you give me the first letter of her last name, her married name? Thank you, go ahead. Sarah what? M O C K. Sarah Mock? Okay, so Sarah Mock is the biological mother of Lewis Brown. And what really happened is that James P. Brown forced himself on Sarah and produced Lewis Brown. But it was her fault. Yes, of course. In his mind, it was her fault. Ugh, hussy. All right. Did she give up the baby Lewis freely to James P. Brown? Okay. Did her husband know she was raped? Yes, he knew. Was there a physical altercation between James P. Brown and her husband? Yes. And so did Sarah Mock and her husband agree the baby needed to go to live with James P. Brown? Did they stay in the area? No. Did they move? Okay, can you tell me where did they move to? Did they move out of the state of Indiana after the child was born? Where did they move to? M O U. So did they move to Missouri? Did her husband buy land in Missouri? He became a tenant farmer in Missouri. So they left the area and they left the baby with James P. Brown. And is there any way to prove it? Not unless we can get DNA samples. Apparently not. That's interesting. All right. Dad, so far, everything that we've done and talked about between Susie and I that we're intuitively getting, is it correct? Are there errors in our storyline? No. Okay, so we are getting it correct. So, all right. James P, not the best person. Hate to say it, family. Oh my goodness. All right, I was looking to see if there was a text question from Susie. There is not, so I'll just let that go. We'll go ahead and shut it down for now. And then I'll tune in to Dad later to see if I can get some more information. So for now, that'll do it.